Hi students, and welcome back to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian and I'm streaming to you from beautiful Victoria here in Western Canada. I hope that all of you are having a lovely weekend thus far. Welcome Fuang Chayani, Andrew, Masinate, Rakwea. Nice to see many of our members back for today's second class, and good to see many of our subscribers and viewers. RT, Mr. L. Fontanelle, Ridham, Babita, Alfred. Great to have you all with me here. We're looking at IELTS speaking part 3, focusing on recreation and fun. And of course, this is no surprise to those of you who were here with me in the last class. That was a part 2 IELTS speaking, the cue card, the long part, and the topic was talking about an entertaining place in your city. I talked about a trampoline park in Victoria where people go and jump around, bounce around to have a great time. And now we're going to continue on this topic for part 3. So part 3 is always related to part 2, the questions. So be ready for that. Be ready to make connections. Now, if you hear questions that seem to be a little bit different than part 2, it's probably because the examiner thinks that you used a memorized answer, so they're switching up the topic. That's what they do. If they think you memorized an answer and use that, they will switch topics on you for questions, so careful about that. All right, everybody. So the lesson and the materials, they're brought to you by aehelp.com for academic IELTS. Visit us there. For general IELTS, check us out at gieltshelp.com. These are the websites that we use for our live classes. They're basically the textbooks. They contain all of the materials. To join our premium IELTS at aehelp.com, click this big red button that's just right above my head. It's a one-time payment for lifetime access. We're an IDP affiliate, British Council partner, IELTS test registration center, and we help thousands of students every day succeed on the IELTS. We are arguably the most popular IELTS learning channel on YouTube. So read our success stories. These are all beautiful people from around the world that have succeeded using our online materials. General IELTS, gieltshelp.com. Click this big red button there. That's just, again, right there above my head. And when you click that button, you can click the enter discount code. Use the code SKILL9 for a 10% discount. You can do that here as well. So use the code SKILL9. These are sister websites, basically. One is academic, the other is general IELTS. We feel it's a good idea to separate these two modules into their own web and app content. And for the apps, you can get the app Academic IELTS Help and General IELTS Help from your app stores. The apps link to the website, so check that out. Instagram, IELTS_AEhelp, GIELTS Help. Okay. If you have questions, send me an email. My email is adrian@aehelp.com or admin@aehelp.com. Okay. We have regular classes, live classes each week. February 4th to February 11th, our schedule looks like this. We have speaking part 3 right now for everybody. 5th to the 8th, no class. On the 9th, Thursday, I'm back with speaking part 1. Students, to see our schedule, and I will post the schedule on our YouTube community board after this class, subscribe. Hit the notification button so you get a little notification on your phone saying there's a live IELTS class happening, get ready. We'll have reading and listening next week, as well as more speaking. We practice speaking with our students in these live classes, so volunteer to do that. and check out new videos on our YouTube channel and on the websites that we release each week. So we've got new content for you all the time. There it is. There's the link for that. All right. I am watching the chat. Sarah, our moderator, is here with us. Thank you, Sarah, for helping people out. Sarah's posted the website and the email in the chat. That's awesome. Thank you. Let's get into speaking part 3. Students, speaking part 3. You need to remember speaking part 2 ideas, okay? So I said this last class. Remember, part 2 ideas. So in part 2, we talked about places for entertainment in your city. Ideas that came up are theater, park, town hall, trampoline park. Absolutely. Perhaps a swimming pool, recreation center. Okay. Recreation, by the way, if this is a new word for some of our viewers, because the topic is recreation and fun. Recreation means leisure and fun activities. Okay. A recreation center is oftentimes also called a sports complex. In Canada, we tend to call them recreation centers. Recreation center, sports complex, where you have swimming pool, a gym, maybe a volleyball, basketball court, ping pong tables, and so forth. Okay, so recreation. Anybody know what a recreational vehicle is? RV for short. It's a kind of a fun pop quiz question for you. If somebody says, I just bought an RV or a recreational vehicle, anybody know what that means? What did that person just say to you? What did they just buy? I bought a recreational vehicle, an RV. What did they just buy? What did your friend just buy? Hi, Eugene. Thank you for those emojis. All right. All right. Let's see. There's no date in February, only for why are you lying? I'm not sure what you're asking there. I can do it, dream. If you state your question a little bit more clearly, perhaps I can assist you. Raquel says it's a sports car. MD Iqbal says it's Ben 10's grandpa's car. Yes, also if you're into the Walking Dead series, then it's that vehicle that they drive around for the first 3 seasons, right? Romelia says it is an open vehicle. I don't think you're thinking about a convertible, Romelia. That's called a convertible. Convertible. It's different. Yeah, Bogdan says it's a large car that you can live in. Yeah, an RV is basically a vehicle that also has beds, a bathroom, and an eating area. So it's one of those large cars that takes a ton of gas. I guess they're probably the most popular here in North America, where people like to drive around with their toilets. These days, because of the price of gas, they certainly are getting less popular. Cyber Junkie says it's kind of like a camper van. Yes, we do kind of call them a camper vans. Camper van is a bit smaller. An RV is larger. It's like a little bus that has beds in it, that has an eating place in it, right? Cheyenne says it's a caravan. Yes, we do call them caravans as well. Caravan, yes. Okay, good. That's an RV. That's a recreational vehicle because it's used to go and have fun and to entertain, right? Okay, great. So anyway, a little off track, but you get the idea. So recreation means to have fun, to move around, to enjoy oneself, to spend leisure time or free time doing what a person wants, okay? It is not a tank, Don Tran, although it could be confused for one. All right, so IELTS speaking part 3. Keep yourself focused. Keep your ideas from part 2 in your head because they will be useful in part 3. Even though you're not looking at your notes anymore, remember your notes that you took for part 2. Those are very useful for part 3. And of course, you always want to focus on giving an answer, an explanation. So think of the word because as you're speaking, and an example. Without saying for example, just kind of funny, but it's true. So don't say for example, okay? Because then your examiner will freak out. They'll jump to the next question. They think you're going to talk too much. So without saying for example. Okay, good example is clear. All right. Yesterday I had a lot of fun. I went to the trampoline park and jumped around for 2 hours. I didn't say for example. It's clear that going to the trampoline park and jumping around for 2 hours is what I meant by saying yesterday I had a lot of fun. So when your example is clear, it makes sense. It doesn't need to be introduced. All right. No need for unnecessary introductions in IELTS speaking or in writing. They won't directly take marks away for that, but they will indirectly take marks away because you're not giving other better information, okay? So you need to think about that. So the indirect effect of giving, for example, or leading expressions like this essay we'll discuss is that you don't give better language instead of that, okay? So we don't need that. So answer, explanation, example. So the examiner for part 3, okay, the IELTS speaking, it's a 15-minute interview. Part 1, part 2 will take about 8-9 minutes at least. And then part 3 will take about 5 minutes, let's say, okay? The examiner will say that is the end of part 2. Now we will continue with part 3. For this part, I will ask you a question related to your response and a question connected to the topic. So they'll ask a question that's directly related. So if you talked about a trampoline park, they will say something like, do you think this trampoline park will stay open if people keep injuring themselves? And then you might say something like, yes, I think so, because everyone is required to sign a waiver stating that they are responsible for their own well-being. So I don't think the park will shut down due to a lawsuit. Otherwise, it is a cash cow. And as long as it keeps making a ton of money, it will keep its doors open. Okay, so when you finish your part 2, be ready for a question that is going to be connected to your part 2 answer. So if you were here last class, you know that we were talking about a trampoline park for an example of an exciting or an entertaining place in Victoria as well as Delhi. Okay. Andrew says, well, I think the park will remain open because it pays over $2 million in taxes annually. Maybe that much, but it doesn't matter. It's good. Yeah, sure. So here's the question. Do you think this trampoline park will stay open if people keep injuring themselves? Answer, yes, I think so, because everyone is required to sign a waiver stating that they are responsible for their own well-being. So I don't think the park will shut down due to a lawsuit. Otherwise, it is a cash cow, and as long as it keeps making a ton of money, it will keep its doors open. Okay? All right. Students, speak and repeat. This is a speaking class, so I want you to enjoy it, and I want you to learn lots. So speak and repeat. Okay? Copy what I say, copy how I say it, intonation, pronunciation, And for those of you who have good English, try to copy my sentences without reading if you can. All right. Okay, waiver. A waiver is a special document where you take responsibility. So you're like, okay, if I break my leg, my problem, I pay. And here's the definition, stating that they are responsible for their own well-being. Shut down means to close or to go bankrupt, to go out of business. Okay, a lawsuit is when a lawyer or the legal system files a case where somebody has to pay another person or entity because of damages or issues. So that's a lawsuit. The verb is suing. You sue the establishment. A cash cow. Love that expression. A cash cow is an English expression, idiom, which means it's a money-making endeavor or venture. So it makes you a lot of money. Okay, it's a cash cow. A business that is successful is a cash cow. A stock investment that keeps making a lot of money, like let's say you invested into Google 25 years ago, that would be a cash cow. Okay. Common expression, ton of money. Another expression, to keep doors open, means to stay in business, to keep in operation. Okay? All of these are good words and expressions. So as we go through today's lesson, as you hear new vocabulary from me and from your peers, make sure to note it down. Notice how here we have a very good answer explanation for this question. Okay, everybody, let's get into a couple of questions together. Use the chat, give me some answers, and then we will get into some one-on-one Q&A. Here we go. Let's talk more about having fun. Why is it important for people to have fun every once in a while? Give me a nice full sentence answer for this one, students. So, Romelia, I see that you're saying you'd love to be a moderator. Sure, we can talk about that, Romelia. Can you send me an email, Romelia? And I will send you one back, and then you can help side with Sarah. Yeah, absolutely. Send me an email, Romelia, and I will make that happen. Okay. Other members, if you're interested, let me know, and we'll make some decisions. Okay. All right. Cool. I look forward to that. All right, let's see. Anahita has an answer for us. Anahita says, let me just catch it from the chat. It's tricky because the chat's moving. Okay, Anahita says, it's essential to have enjoyable activities like cracking jokes and humor because human mind, body, and soul need rest. Otherwise, people will face psychological disorders such as depression. Okay, Anahita, here's a couple of tips for you, okay? So, to boost that score. So, let's say that would be like a band 7, 6.57, and then we want to boost it. Okay. Students, using contractions in your speech is okay. Contractions are like saying it's, like Anahita is doing here. It's equals it is. Okay? So using contractions like hasn't, has not, would have, practice the pronunciation, would have, would have. Contractions are okay. However, you should use the non-contracted form first. So contractions are good because they're natural. But you should use the non-contracted form first so the examiner is clear and you emphasize. Okay, so again, like I said, I'm teaching you strategies while we're looking at the answers, so keep this in mind, okay? All right, here it's better, Anahita, to say it is essential, not just for coherence, but also for the emphasis, right? So making it sound strong, okay? Because here I would want to make it sound strong that it's really important to have fun. So it is, and I would even emphasize that, Anahita. So practice this, students. It is essential to have enjoyable activities like cracking jokes and jumping around at a trampoline park. We don't need the humor because that's a repeat of jokes. So Anahita, don't repeat the same information. Instead, give new information. So it is essential to have enjoyable activities like cracking jokes and jumping around at a trampoline park because the human mind, body, and soul need rest and a recharge, Otherwise, people will face psychological disorders such as depression. And then, yeah, let's throw in a simple example here, Anahita. This is the reason I always take at least a few hours for myself for fun activities or fun times, okay? We don't want to repeat activities. All right, Divyanshi has an answer for us. Divyanshi says, I think it is essential to do things that can take a person's mind off of a lot of things happening in the world, especially in the current environment of health issues. Okay, Divyanshi, firstly, very importantly, things and things again. Okay? Definitely no. All right? So, students, no, no, no. No things and things. All right? We start losing context. We start losing clarity, especially when we start doubling up on the word things. And this happens. So, as soon as a person starts to say the word things, then because it's an easy shortcut for the mind, we start to use it more and more. Oh, things like this and things like that and that thing and this thing. And the next thing you know, it's all about things and things. And the examiner's like, I'm sorry, did we just have a conversation about things? What things? What things are we talking about? Right? So you really want to practice avoiding that, Divyanshi, when you're practicing your speaking. Okay, so I think it is essential to do, as Anahita said, fun activities, to do enjoyable hobbies, for instance, right? That can take the person's mind off a lot of stressful events happening in the world. And then that's when you remember some of those stressful events happening in the world, like war and economic crisis. Unfortunately, we're dealing with that, right? When we replace the word things, it helps our brain to also keep clicking and moving and thinking about more detailed and specific information, right? Anahita says the second things could be sufferings as well. That's right, Domenico. The word thing has zero meaning. In fact, it actually has the result or the effect of confusing your thinker. Like, what thing are you thinking about? We're not all thinking about the same thing. So I think it is essential to do enjoyable hobbies that can take the person's mind off a lot of stressful events happening in the world, like war and economic crisis. Okay. And then you don't need that second sentence, Divyanshi. Then you can just say, therefore, I always take a moment or take an hour in the morning for a fun jog around my neighborhood 2, just let go of all my stresses in life. Okay? So notice that answer, explanation, example, right? Avoiding the word things. Syed says, well, I think it is crucial for people to have fun every once in a while to keep themselves alive and happy. Otherwise, they can go through mental retardations. Syed, we don't use that word retardation really anymore. Retardation is a politically incorrect word from earlier, or I should say in the 20th century, referring to people who have certain mental illness or mental deficiencies, but we've stopped using that word. So you should know, people. I do hear sometimes people using these words. In natural modern English, we avoid certain words that used to be common in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, maybe even 90s, but we don't use them anymore, like mental retardation. Unless you want to offend somebody, right? So there are a lot of different other ways that we say it now, like mental health issues, right? Or mental health challenges, if you want to be super PC. When you're planning to move to an English-speaking country, okay, so Canada, US, UK, Australia, you have to really pay attention to how the language has changed, because some people are very sensitive to old terminology. The other day, I was talking with one of my friends and I used the acronym STDs. Anybody know what that means, STDs? And my friend said, you can't use that anymore. It just shows that you're old as me and you don't have teenagers yet, which is true. My kids aren't teenagers yet. And he says, you have to use the word STIs. And I'm like, STIs? Really? So anybody know what that means, STDs? For fun. So it shows everybody learns. I'm learning. I just learned this a couple weeks ago myself. Rakwea says AIDS would be an example here. Yeah, exactly. Rakesh, very good. So it's a sexually transmitted disease. Disease, it's an STD. For example, like AIDS. Okay, would be an example of it. By the way, AIDS is autoimmune deficiency syndrome. Okay, so we don't use that anymore. Now they use STIs because I guess people feel that the word disease is too strong. So people now say STIs, which means sexually transmitted illness. Okay, so that's the modern version. I had no idea up until 2 weeks ago, up until my friend enlightened me on this cultural change. So I will be sure not to use STDs going forward. Or yes, or infection. That's right, infection. I think you're right, Bohara. It's not illness, it's infection. Right? Sexually transmitted infection. Okay. Anyway, so you should pay attention to these details, and showing that you are able to control your choice of language is important in IELTS for those high band scores. So going for that band 8 or band 9, yeah, you definitely, like, sometimes people ask me, is it okay to swear? Like if I say shit during the IELTS speaking, am I going to lose marks? Not really. So the answer is no. The examiner, there's no such criteria that if the student's cursing, take away marks. But the examiner will probably decrease your score because of your lexical resource. So they're not going to say, oh, you get -1 band for dropping an F-bomb or using the word shit, right? But they will take a mark for saying that you did not find the correct word in the context or the more accurate word in the context. You are in a professional conversation, right? So you have to speak according to 2023 professional situation, right? All right. So be careful. Shub says, what does lexical resource mean? It means your ability to access vocabulary in an effective way to clearly express yourself based on the topic that you are being asked. Long definition, but that's what it is. Okay, Shub? All right. Okay, everybody. So keep these in mind going forward, and let's have some more fun with each other in this class. You can have an entertaining time online by answering part 3 questions. Students, let's do that. Let's get into speaking part 3, volunteering. I want to spend as much time with you, giving you more strategies, more tips based on your actual answers. Okay? So, to volunteer, everybody, this is what you need to do, and I think Sarah will help us out here. So Sarah will put the instructions in the chat, and she's also given us a definition for lexical resource, which is fantastic. So to volunteer, go to the website, aehelp.com. Okay. Once there, go into your My Student account if you're not automatically logged in. Go to Student Partner Speaking. Make sure your microphone is working. If it's your first time, please, students, connect with another student. So say, it's my first time. Can we try my microphone speaker? Make sure I can use this system. If not, I have to change some settings. Make a different internet connection, maybe use a VPN. Okay. Once you know that everything works awesome for you, send me a message to Master. Okay. Say, I want to volunteer. All right. Okay. Let me show you. This is our website. Again, you can join the premium package by clicking on these big red buttons there and there. Okay. It's just above my head. It's absolutely worth it. It's a one-time payment. You get lifetime access. All right. And then you go to your My Student account. Your My Student account has lots of tools for you. Some people are actually amazed at how much they get for the little money. It's because we want to help a lot of students rather than a few rich students, right? So you've got computer-based practice exams. You've got your full online course. You've got workbooks, study plans, lesson videos. And then here you have Student Partner Speaking. Okay? Click on that. Click on that Student Partner Speaking. Okay. Once you do that, you will be asked to accept the terms, which means that you use this for IELTS, you speak politely, you use your best language, you use English, right? And then you get into this pane, this window, where you see lots of your classmates. We've got Dewey here, we've got Andrew, Alfred, Raquea, a lot of our premium students. Premium students take note of each other because you're probably in here more often, and you should connect with each other. And then you've got a lot of our regular viewers. Virgo is back. That's nice to see. We've got Thu and many, many more. And then you can send me a message. You will see me as Master. Click the blue envelope beside my name and send me a message. Say, I would like to speak, or let me try a question. I want to volunteer. And then we'll do it. We'll get going on it. Okay. So let's take a look here. If something happens, you can always refresh the page, by the way. Let's start with Thu. I think Thu has had a chance before, but it's been a while. So Thu, are you ready? And of course, so I can hear you, let me put on my headphones. Now, students, there's a lot to learn from each other. Okay, Muskan, I can see in the chat you're saying I stammer a lot. If you have any kind of speech difficulty, you need to, or speech impediment it's called, you need to note that during your registration. Okay? All right, Thu. Hi, Thu. We have a connection. There you are, Thu. How are you?
I'm fine, thanks.
Awesome. Thu, can you tell everybody where you are calling us from?
Actually, I come from Vietnam. I come from Bắc Ninh, a province which is located in northern part of Vietnam.
Northern Vietnam. Thank you for that clear description, Thu. That's the right attitude for IELTS speaking. Thu, why are you taking the IELTS exam?
And I have mentioned it before. I want to win a black at a university of my dream. So I need to get. I need to get a band 6.5 in IELTS exam.
Okay, Thu, I will help you with that. Nice connection, by the way. You said, as I mentioned before, it's to get entrance into my dream university. Very good, Thu. Okay, we'll get into a couple of part 3 questions. You're practicing the right techniques, I can tell, just by the way you're answering these first few questions. So that's fantastic. Are you ready for some part 3 questions about fun and recreation?
I am afraid you can. I am afraid that you can excite me, but thankfully you hear me.
Okay, let's do it then. Here we go. So that is the end of part 2. We will now continue with part 3. I will ask you some questions about fun and recreation. Let's talk more about fun. Why is it important for people to have fun every once in a while?
From a personal perspective, I think it's having a lot of fun is of paramount importance. This is because people can have time to relieve stress and anxiety, below their stream, and it can form personal and personal words. And this is the reason why uh, I usually spend a lot of time going for work to relieve stress after a busy day.
What can happen if people do not have fun once in a while?
I think um, if people don't have enough leisure time, they will suffer from many psychological disorders like depression. Uh, we also have and because of because people don't strike a balance between work and study, they can their life can be harder because they suffer from many anxieties, and they will and this also leads to many dysfunctional families. I see many people in my neighborhood who's have who have many black sheep families. I mean, because they don't
All
care
right,
about
let's stop there. Okay. All right, stop. Brakes. Thu. All right, good. You've got a lot of ideas. You've got a lot of vocabulary, and that's fantastic. And you have good ideas, too. You would score about a band 6 for these 2 answers. Your content and your lexical resource is easily a band 7, even a band 8. So it's very good, okay? Your pronunciation here is about a band 6. I'm having trouble with a few words, understanding them clearly. Now, mind you, Thu, it's also true that we don't have a perfect connection, so I hear a bit of static, and I don't see you. right? So if I were to see you and I saw your lips moving and I saw your hands moving, I might understand you a little bit better, for sure. Okay. This is why I'd always recommend people to take the face-to-face exam if it's possible, not the computer-based, because the computer-based, it's through a video camera, it's not as effective. So if you can, for sure, take the face-to-face exam. And of course, work on the pronunciation. So a lot of English speakers from especially East Asia have challenges because English is such a different language as far as pronunciation. So you have to always just kind of give that extra effort of really pronouncing. Just pronounce this word after me: dysfunctional.
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 Dysfunction.
Dysfunctional. Dysfunctional.
Function. Dysfunction.
Dysfunctional.
Dysfunctional. Okay.
Dysfunctional.
Getting better, absolutely. So that's what you want to do. You want to actually, recognize that, okay, I've got lots of vocabulary, I've got a lot of good ideas, so I don't have to worry too much about that. I'm going to do a bit more pronunciation practice. So every day when I'm learning English, I'm going to take 20, 30 minutes and just do this repetition. And a really useful tool is Google. So Google AI, the pronunciation is very accurate. So you know how in Google you can type a word and hit the little speaker and then it will say dysfunctional, right? So even just copying Google's pronunciation is really good practice, okay? All right.
Okay,
All right. So overall, it was really good. The other part that you can improve on is your fluency. So your fluency score would have been around a 5-6. Okay. So fluency, pronunciation are about a 5-6. Your coherence and lexical resource are about a band 7-8. So what you want to do is a lot of focus on pronunciation, a lot of focus on just speaking, and getting rid of some of those awkward pauses and breaks that you take during your speech, okay?
yes.
All right.
Actually, I see the video very often, but I don't have time to enter the class.
Mm-hmm. You have to make time, Thu. You have to make time. Spending time with English is one of the best investments in time that you can take in life. I strongly believe that because it's the global language of business and communication, right? So I think if you're going to make time for certain activities, in my personal opinion, English and exercise, those are the two that it's always a good idea to put extra effort into, and you will be rewarded greatly, okay? So just make that time through, okay?
Yeah.
All right.
I will
Mhm.
use more time to. I will have more time to eat English.
Sounds like a plan. If I see you, I will look for you, okay, Thu? So just keep practicing and log into the website. Reach out to other students. People are so happy when somebody sends them like a message and they're like, I want to practice. And then they're like, yay. So use it, okay?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Bye,
Thank you.
Thu. Bye. All right. Yeah. Practice. I mean, there's no way to get around that, right? It's what we have to do. All right, let's take somebody else. Let's see if we can find somebody new here. I think Purushottam might be new to our live speaking. So Purushottam, are you ready? Hopefully Purushottam is with us. Thumbs up for Thu, absolutely. Thank you, Fuang and Silviana, for reminding everybody in the chat that, hey, we need to encourage each other. Communication and language is challenging for everybody. It's a lifelong learning process. Okay, Purushottam. Hello, Purushottam.
Hello, sir.
How are you?
I'm all good, sir.
Awesome.
Everything is going well for me.
Purushottam, do you have a short version of your name? Like, I don't know why, but I really want to call you just Puru, or is that's no good?
Yes, sir. You can call me. As most of my friends also call me Puru as my nickname.
Okay, good. All right. I kind of felt that. I felt like that would be a great little or short version of your name. All right, Puru. Fantastic. Where are you right now, may I ask?
Actually, I am from the eastern part of Nepal,
Eastern part of Nepal.
and
Okay.
it's called Islam.
Okay. Shova there in the chat is giving you a big heart saying, I'm also from Nepal. Awesome. And Ganesh is from there too. Okay, Puru, why are you taking IELTS?
Actually, I am taking this class as I am planning to pursue my further master's degree from abroad. So, is it one of the requirement for me? So, I am taking this IELTS test.
May I ask what area for your master's?
Actually, I'm planning for doing my master's on health subject because professionally I am a dentist here. I'm practicing my dentistry as a full-time dentist.
Okay. All right. Yes, I was just asking one of my friends the other day. I wonder what the world did before dentists. That would have been a scary, scary situation, right? It was the old
Yes,
take the hammer, get rid, ow, oh, got rid of that. Yeah. So thank you for dentists. I can. It's one of the best advances of modern humanity, I'm sure. Okay. Well, Puru, let's get into some. Places to have fun. I don't know. I don't think that the dentist office will get mentioned in the context of places to have fun, but we'll ask you some part three questions. Okay, are you ready?
yes, sir.
All right.
I'm
Then
ready.
let's talk a little bit more about having fun. At
Yes, sir.
times, people enjoy themselves by watching violent sports such as boxing. Is this acceptable? Why or why not?
Uh, I think it's acceptable because it's the form of sports. Many will enjoy these sports as not only watching sports like football and volleyball and cricket will give immense pleasure, but also watching boxing. Some may have that passion, or some may have that intriguing things that can really boost up after watching it. So I think it's valid to watch those sports. Take it as just a sports. Don't take it as violent things. This may help, I think.
How have people's entertainment activities changed in the last 20 years?
I think a lot of changes have taken place for their enjoyment. People in the past used to have those recreation by playing at their own homes, playing cards or something like that. But at present, in the name of enjoyment, there are a lot of changes happened. Like they go to the casinos, or they go to the some stadium to watch football, some live sports. At previous time, most of these things is not usually don't take usually don't they don't have people don't have used to have chance for those activities, but
Will
now.
these change in the future?
Yes, sir. Excuse me, sir.
Will they change in the future?
I think it will definitely change in future because nowadays with the advancement in technologies, people have tried to enjoy it through some VFX, and now recently those AIs and new technology have created more platform to enjoy rather than on sports.
Okay, let's stop there. Um, okay, so I've got most of it. Ooh, my fingers. You made my fingers tired. I was typing so much. But that's good. That means you're fluent. Okay. So some solid answers there. That would be about a band 6.5. Okay. You're fluent and you're somewhere between fluent and good, according to the IELTS. You have some good ideas. You have some awkward use of language, some grammatical mistakes. So your fluency is about a band 7. Your pronunciation is about a band 8. Your lexical resource is about a band 7. Your grammatical range and accuracy is about a 6 to 7. I should say your range is 7. Your accuracy is 6. Overall, it would be about a 6.5 when all combined and assessed. Okay, so let's take a
Yes,
look
sir.
at this and let's talk a little bit about what can happen here. So this first one was a bit tricky. I started you with a tough question, right? It's like at times, this is a typical kind of question that the examiner can ask, where they give you a scenario and then they ask your opinion about that scenario. So the scenario or the situation here is people watching violent sports like boxing, right? So when that
Yes.
scenario is presented, you have to visualize it. Like you have to see it. Okay, I'm watching this boxing match. Am I having fun or am I turning it off? So what's my attitude here? And then kind of go with that idea. So is it acceptable? Why or why not? And choose the easy path. I think you did that. I think, choosing that it's acceptable is an easy path. Like you can say, well, I'm not into violent sports like boxing, but I do think it is acceptable. Okay. So you had some good ideas and you used a good correlative conjunction. So you said not only watching sports like football, volleyball, cricket are enjoyable, but also watching sports like boxing will have an entertaining effect. Here's where you had a bit of strange language. You said we'll have a boost up. The boost up was very awkward in this context and used incorrectly. So when you're using idioms or expressions, really make sure that you're using them correctly. If not, just use the simpler or more technical English. So you can say, but also watching sports like boxing will have that positive effect. Okay. And then don't repeat. Don't say after watching it, because you already said watching sports like boxing will have that positive effect. Why, right? So you have to kind of be in the situation. It's because the viewer has their favorite boxer. They also can feel the excitement and the thrill of the competition, right? So watching sports like boxing will have that positive effect because people have their favorite athletes and they vicariously feel the thrill of excitement and victory. Do you know what it means vicariously? The word vicariously, Peru?
Sorry, sir.
Do you know the meaning of vicariously? This word, vicariously? Just teaching a bit of vocabulary here as well. Do you know what that means?
Sorry, sir. I don't know about that.
Okay, so when you vicariously experience, it means you experience it through the other person. So I'm not a boxer. I don't go out and box with other people. But when I watch boxing, I feel like I become the boxer and I'm also in there throwing those punches, right? So I'm vicariously experiencing it. Often parents experience life vicariously through their children. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
So to experience indirectly. Indirectly. So let's do a little bit of repetition work here. Okay, Peru, and this is for everybody, so everybody can repeat. And when I'm finished saying it, just do it from listening as much as possible, okay? So not only watching sports like football or volleyball can be entertaining, but also watching sports like boxing will have that positive effect because people have their favorite athletes and they vicariously feel the thrill of excitement and victory. Try it.
I think it's acceptable because it's a form of sports and many will enjoy these sports, not only watching, but also watching sports like boxing will have that positive effect because people have their favorite athletes and they vicariously feels the thrill of excitement and victory.
Okay, good. Now remember, try not to, so your English is quite good, so try not to do repetition in the future by reading, but just try to do it from listening only, right? Because then it's more accurate and it's better, all right?
Yes, sir. Sure, sure.
Okay, so that's good. Keep up the practice. Watch and pay attention to your word use, Puru. And I hope you have a great rest of the day. And I hope to help you some more in the future with your journey towards your master's degree in health.
Sure, sir.
All
Thank
right.
you, sir.
You're welcome. Bye, Puru.
Bye, sir.
All right, that was Puru from Nepal. Thumbs up. Shub is asking, how can I improve my fluency? Through lots of practice, Shub, in the chat. Practice, lots of talking, right? Okay. Let's take somebody else. We have not heard from Lola in a while. Lola is one of our regular students. Let's reach out to Lola. Lola, are you ready? Students, I've got lots of time and I'm wound up on coffee, so don't go anywhere. I'm going to find many of you to practice with. Lola, if you're there, let me know. I should probably slow down on my coffee a little bit. Next thing you know, I'm talking so fast you can't understand me. You're like, what? Slow YouTube, 1.5 speed. Can you do that? I don't know if you can do that. Live YouTube, I don't think you can slow it down. All right, Lola.
Hello.
Hi, Lola.
Hi. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. Lola, you sound like you're a little bit distant. If you can turn up your mic or get a little bit closer to it, maybe.
Okay.
All right.
How is it? Is it good?
It works. It's a bit better. Lola, can you tell everybody where you are in the world and why you are learning English?
Hello, everybody. I'm from Uzbekistan, from the capital city, and it is Tashkent. And I'm learning to get university and to study about journalism. I want to study about journalism.
Journalism, university and journal. Why? Let me follow that up with another question. Why?
Okay.
Why are you inspired to become a journalist?
It's just my dream profession since my childhood, and so
Okay.
that's why.
Well, you get to travel a lot. You probably get into a lot of interesting situations. Just always stay safe, okay? Learn karate or something to keep you safe. All right, Lola, let me get into some part 3 questions for you. Are you ready?
Yeah, but
Okay.
I'm a little bit afraid because
It's okay.
that's the best.
You're training to be a journalist. You can't be afraid. You have to
Yeah.
you have no space for fear in your life as a journalist. No, that's not true. A little bit of fear keeps us on our toes. All right, Lola, here we go. So let's discuss recreation and activity centers. What are some common facilities available in recreation centers?
There are some common facial available in recreation centers for people to relax, like feed dogs or fish, and they can even have barbecues or picnics too, and or they just relax by having nap.
Why do people like these?
After all of their stressful days work, they don't have any chance to avoid this kind of facilities. So they will just.
Is it the government's responsibility to build public recreation centers, or should they be privately owned?
I don't agree that they should be privately owned because it's the government's responsibility to build leisure for people. Because that's their work to build them. If they be privately, it will be, I think, cost high, which is uncommon.
All right. I am going to stop there for a moment, Lola. Now, to
Yeah.
be fair, you are cutting in and out a little bit. So I'm losing, because of our connection, I'm losing a little bit of coherence. And I think, that
Yeah.
isn't making the mark completely fair. But overall, I think you'd be around a 5.5, and
Oh
you
no.
oh no. So one really important point in your IELTS speaking is that you have to be on topic. You have to have a good answer. Okay.
Right.
And we kind of lost that here at the beginning. So I said, let's discuss recreation and activity centers. Okay. And then I said, what are some common facilities available in recreation centers? Lola, what is a recreation center?
Areas for relax.
Yes, they're a little bit more specific than just an area for relaxing. So I think like you were almost thinking of like a park, and
Yeah.
it was kind of for me like you're like feeding the ducks. I'm like, not the first thought that comes to mind with a recreation center. A recreation center is like a sports facility. So really pay attention to the introduction of the topics. Okay, this is a very important tip for everybody, by the way. So when the examiner says, let's discuss recreation and activity centers, the examiner is trying to help a little bit by paraphrasing recreation center with activity center. So here we're talking more about like a sports facility. So a place where you have like a swimming pool, a basketball court, maybe a
I got it.
community center where people can gather for special occasions and meals. So that would be a recreation center. Okay, so this is where we went into the wrong direction. So let's try this question one more time without me helping you. I think you'll do better. Okay, are you ready?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. What are some common facilities available in recreation centers?
There are a lot of common facilities to recreation and recreation centers, like join into the team of volleyball or basketball, or do some a practice of boxing, and even they will get diving into the aquarium that full of sharks.
I don't know what kind of recreation centers you have there in Uzbekistan, Lola, but diving with sharks, hey? All right, getting a bit too imaginative.
Yeah.
So careful with that. All right, but you're kind of in the right direction this time. Okay, so there are a lot of common facilities in recreation centers, like sports courts for joining a community team. Okay, I'm just making some corrections here. Community team for we also say drop in, like where you just go and you pay a couple dollars and then you just join the team. It's called drop in volleyball, drop in basketball. Can you repeat after me? Drop in volleyball.
Drop in volleyball.
I play drop in volleyball every Saturday with my friends at my local recreation center.
I play a drop in volleyball with my friends every weekend in the recreation centers.
Awesome. Now you won't forget. Okay. That's the big trick. So to learn new vocabulary, the key is create a sentence where you include yourself. So you make it personal, make it unique, and include that vocabulary, and then you can remember it very effectively. And if you add something interesting, like saying, I hurt my ankle playing drop-in volleyball with my friends at the recreation center last week, then that information will fix itself in your mind. Okay, so this is a very important tip for everybody. Use a situation that's personal, it's interesting, and use a complex sentence, and that way you will remember the information faster and easier. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Lola, keep practicing. Make sure you stay on topic. But I really like how you didn't say, I don't know what recreation centers are. You just went with it. Feed the ducks. and dive with sharks.
Okay.
Okay, Lola, have an
Thank
awesome
you.
day. Bye. You're
Okay.
welcome.
Bye
Bye.
bye. Thank you.
All right, that was Lola from Uzbekistan. Let's give her a thumbs up. Shub says working out, Zumba, yoga are included in recreation centers. They absolutely are, Shub. Yes, recreation centers have yoga classes, Zumba classes, dance classes. Definitely, they have spaces for these kinds of events. Indeed. All right, one of our premium students, Alfred, wants to volunteer. Are you ready, Alfred? Hopefully you're still with us. Let's go, go, go today, everybody. Lots of tips, vocabulary, practice coming at you. When I'm practicing with a specific student, practice along, okay? This is a joint effort. Alfred.
Hello,
Hi, Alfred. How are you?
I'm doing great, thank you. How are you?
I am getting a little bit hyperactive. I think I've had too much coffee, but thank you for asking, Alfred. All right, Alfred, are you going to any enjoyable places this weekend or places for entertainment?
Um, Actually, I went to Bali in December, so I went to zoo, like Bali
Alfred,
Safari Park.
Alfred,
Yeah.
I know you want to share this with me, and I'm jealous. I want to
Mm.
go to Bali too, but remember, in speaking part 3, you have to answer questions accurately. My question is,
Okay.
are you planning to go to any entertaining places this weekend?
Oh, planning. Okay, planning. I do have plan to go to a mall, and because there's a mall here that provides some entertaining recreation such as um, roller coaster.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah.
Good. All right, so you are. So you're planning to do that this weekend. Okay. In Canada, we have
Yeah.
a mall like that. It's called the West Edmonton Mall, and it used to be the biggest one in the world until I think somebody built one bigger in Dubai. But that one has a roller coaster and such. Okay, then Alfred, let's do this. I will ask you a couple of questions. Are you ready?
Okay, I'm ready.
All right, here we go. Let's discuss recreation and activity centers. Is it the government's responsibility to build public recreation centers, or should they be privately owned? And why?
In my point of view, it's better if the government who take responsibility for the recreation centers, because it's more credible, and also the government will uh, responsible for that event if there is injured in that um, recreation. It can covered by the uh, health health system from government.
How can athletic centers benefit a community? And what are the best ways to achieve these goals?
I'm sorry, I couldn't catch that. Can you please repeat?
How can athletic centers benefit a community? And what are the best ways to achieve these goals?
Okay. Athletic centers is great for the communities to build their um, muscles, and it's good for health to get fit. And then I went to some gyms before to gain more weight, and also uh, to stay fit.
All right, that is the end of part 3. That concludes the speaking section of the IELTS exam. You will have your mark in 2 days online after you finish the other sections, and your official certificate in the mail in 10 days. Goodbye.
Okay, thank you.
Don't go, Alfred. Don't go yet. But that's good.
Yeah.
You finished it. Yeah, you said thank you. Goodbye. Yeah. So students, this is an important tip for everybody. I don't always remind you, but when you hear the examiner conclude the speaking section and say that's the end, they say exactly what I just said. Then really confidently have a strong finish. So say thank you very much. I hope you have a great day too. Goodbye, and then go out the door confidently. Okay, so don't just kind of run away or jump out the window or something like that. That's not a good way to exit. Alfred, that was good. I think a band 6 would be the fair assessment. It would be the most common assessment for that. You have some good ideas, good vocabulary. You need to build your fluency. You need to say what you said just faster. Okay, at least
Okay.
15-20% faster to bring that fluency up, and that will increase the coherence mark as well. The other really important tip, Alfred, is keep your thoughts simple. Like when I asked you, is it the government's responsibility to build public recreation centers? You started going on about the government being responsible for people's injuries and being covered by the healthcare system. I was like, oh, wow, that's really complicated. And I hope people aren't hurting themselves too much. And I think because of that, it's decreasing your fluency. So you're speaking slower because there's maybe too many ideas going on in your head. So keep it simpler, right? So in my point of view, it's better if the government would take responsibility for recreation centers. By the way, a really good use of the question. A couple of the previous volunteers did a really good job also, and I forgot to compliment you on that. So using the question like that to start your answer is a very smart strategy. It lets you think a little bit. And you said because it's more credible. I thought that was very clever, Alfred, that you said it's more credible. What do you mean it's more credible? So what does that mean, that the recreation center is more credible when it's government owned?
It means that re- reliable, like credible is something that's reliable, and like people can build trust.
Yeah, I just kind of finished off your ideas here. So it's more credible, meaning it is reliable. It is open 7 days a week for 12 hours a day. So remember your quantification, your numbers, right? And it's cheap to access, right? And then you can say also it is the government's responsibility to maintain it and keep it safe.
Yeah.
Using taxpayer money, right? Because again, if we think about it, right, recreation centers, I mean, they benefit the public. The public is healthy. Using tax money to keep the public healthy is a very smart investment of government funds, right? So here is a nice, accurate band 9 alternative form of your answer. I'm going to say this and then just repeat after me. Are you ready?
I'm ready, yeah.
Okay. In my point of view, it's better if the government takes responsibility for recreation centers because it's more credible, meaning they are reliable, they're open 7 days a week, 12 hours a day, and they are cheap to access. Also, with the government being responsible, they are safe, and it's a good use of taxpayer money. Okay, go for it whenever you're ready.
Okay, yeah, I'm ready. In my point of view, it's better if the government would take responsibility for the recreation center because it's more credible, meaning that it is reliable. It is open 7 days a week for 12 hours a day and is cheap to access. Also, it is the government responsibility to maintain it and keep it safe using taxpayer money.
Okay, so that would be your band 9. All right. Okay,
Right.
Alfred, you're on the right
Yes.
track. Just keep doing what you're doing, okay? Lots of practice.
Okay.
All right. Okay, Alfred,
Yeah.
have an awesome rest of your day, and we'll talk about Bali another time. You'll give me some tips for when I go
Okay.
there. Okay, all right. Bye,
Okay.
Alfred. Have a great
Yeah.
weekend. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
All right, that was Alfred. Yeah, students, very important to stay on topic. Don't tell the examiner what you want to say. Tell the examiner what the examiner needs to hear. Okay? All right. Very important. Helen, there you are. I told you I'd give you a chance if I saw you in here. Helen, you say you have a good microphone. Let's try it out. Are you ready? If you're there, Helen, let me know. Okay, good job, by the way, volunteers. Thank you for that, and good job supporting each other. I see a lot of thumbs up going out there, and a lot of words of compliments. So that's fantastic. It's really nice to see. It's positive vibes in the world. That's what we need, right? Lots of positive vibes. There's sure enough negative vibes these days. So let's turn that around and let's start being positive again. It's the best way to defeat the negative, is to be positive, right? Can't fight fire with fire. That's the expression. You can't fight fire with fire, and that's very true when it comes to negative and positive energies in the world. So let's be the positive. All right, Helen, are you there? You've got 5 seconds. Counting backwards. 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. No Helen. Not sure what's going on there. All right. Let's take another premium member that we might never have spoken to before in the past, Eugene. Let's see if Eugene is here. Eugene, are you ready? If you're there, Eugene, let me know. Give me a sign. Just even an exclamation mark, enter. Yes. Yes, I am. Eugene, thank you for being a premium member, by the way. I hope you're having fun with the course. And by the way, for those of you who don't have premium access, you can access it. There should be a red button for you there. Okay. Eugene is with us. I see that. Yes, Eugene. All right. Otabek, you can buy speaking interviews with me. Click that yellow button. It's on this page. It's up here. Eugene, pick up that phone. I'll give you another 2 rings. All right, Eugene, I'm not sure what's going on there. You got to check that connection. It might be a bit slow with YouTube and the website running at the same time. Make sure it's Wi-Fi. Make sure it's pretty fast. All right, well, let's take somebody else here. Kubalai. I believe that's the pronunciation. Kubalai, are you there? Okay. When you've got a lot going on, especially if you're using a mobile phone, then you want to make sure you have a really good connection.
Hello, can you hear me?
I can, Kubal. Is it Kubalai or Kubalay?
It's Kubilai actually, but if it's gonna ease you, you can just call me Kubi as well.
Kubi. All right. All right, Kubi. First question, where are you?
I'm living in Turkey, and I'm from the capital city Ankara, which is located in the central Anatolia region.
Ankara. All right. Very historical city, right?
Yes, true.
All right. Kubi, and why are you taking the IELTS exam?
I'll be applying for my master's in Europe, so I need to have a good IELTS band.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough. And what will you be studying?
I'll be studying computer science.
Okay. Well, let me help you in that journey. I will ask you a few part 3 questions. Are you ready?
Yeah, sure. I'm ready.
Then let's talk a bit more about having fun. Why is it important for people to have fun every once in a while?
I think having fun is very important because it helps us to relax and just stress out today. And also it's one of the ways to socialize as well, like not only entertaining yourself alone, but there's lots of things that you can do with people, which is also fun things to do. That's why.
What happens if people do not have fun every once in a while?
I think they would get stressed too much, and maybe they would have some hard time concentrating on their studies or jobs, and I think that would be the problem. And yes.
How have people's entertainment activities changed in the last 20 years?
I think it's changed a lot with the advancement of new technologies. Now we have video game consoles and internet access. In the past, the only chance to have fun was to maybe go out and meet some people, play games. But now we can hang out with people and maybe watch things together, or speak to each other in the comfort of our rooms. So I think it has changed dramatically.
Okay, I'm going to stop there and give you some feedback. All right, tricky, because your band score is actually changing question by question. So my first tip to you is definitely speak English all day on the day of your exam, even the day before. I can tell that you have a lot of experience with English. You've practiced English a lot. It sounds like you've used English quite a bit in your life. And it takes you a minute for your brain to really switch into English. So make sure that you're practicing before you go and see the examiner, so that you're showing your best English from the very first question. Okay. The reason I tell you that is because I think your first one or two answers were about a band 775, and then this last answer that you gave me about changing entertainment activities, that was closer to a band 8.5. So it's like you had a whole band improvement in that last answer. So you want to really show that. I think that if you do that, you can get a band 8 in your IELTS exam if you were to sit within the next few weeks. So one step that you did really well here when I asked you this, how have people's entertainment activities changed, is you use the question, you use the grammar. So you said, I think it's changed. I think it's changed, and the it's is an it has. You should say the has. Okay. So I think it has changed, but then you use the present perfect again later, which was really good. And then immediately you use the most obvious answer, the changing new technologies, video consoles, and the internet. That was really smart, very predictable, but very good answers at the same time. You said, I think in the past the only way was to go out, but now people can entertain themselves from the comfort of their own homes. So really good answer there. Okay. Jumping back to the first question, if people don't have fun every once in a while, you said, I think, so the first one, you said, I think having fun is very important because it helps us to relax. That was good. And then you said, and just stress out. It was really awkward and confusing. I think what you meant to say here is, and just let go of stress. Okay. But it came out in a very awkward kind of way. So just be really careful. Then you corrected yourself, which was good. Okay. And then you said, not only entertaining yourself alone, you might get a smile from the examiner if you say that. Okay. I'm entertaining myself alone. What do you mean?
I thought the same when in the second I was speaking.
Yeah.
I was like, no.
Well, that's not what I meant. Okay.
Exactly.
But it's good that you didn't start laughing, or you didn't get frustrated, or didn't get into an awkward situation, and that's okay. So you just kept going with it, and that's fine. Mistakes happen. As native speakers, sometimes we say a phrase that we don't intend, or it comes out strange, and we just keep going, right? So that was okay. again, show up early, practice for at least an hour before you enter the exam room, and I think you'll do quite well. Did you have any questions about the IELTS speaking exam?
Actually, I'm having some hard time to decide for how long should I be speaking, especially in the part 3, since it's already calculated in part 2. So I'm not sure about that. Like sometimes I think that like I'm trying to practice with my friends, and I think sometimes in part 1 I'm speaking too much, and in part 3 I'm speaking limited, like not quite enough.
The easiest way to answer this question, because there is no perfect answer, so there's no answer like speak 2 sentences or speak 5 sentences. It really has to be contextual. So you have to sense the conversation in an intelligent way, and you can absolutely do that. The simplest answer for your question is just think about answer, explanation, example. Why is it important for people to have fun every once in a while? It's critical for people to enjoy themselves at least a few times a week, because it's a good way to recharge their batteries, relax, and relieve stress. This is the reason I play drop-in basketball twice a week at the local recreation center. Answer, explain, example, and then I stop, okay? I don't over-explain, I don't re-explain, I don't give 3 examples, or I don't talk about my basketball game for 3 sentences. I just stick to 1, maybe 2 sentences for each of those 3 elements, okay?
Yes, okay.
That's the key. You can sense it. So when you've overspoken, when you've said too much, you kind of realize like, oh, that was unnecessary in that context, right? So that's what you have to focus on, okay?
Okay.
All right. Okay, thank you so much, Kubi, for volunteering. I hope you have an awesome rest of your day in Ankara.
Yeah, thanks for your time and feedbacks. That was great.
You're most welcome. Bye for now. All right, that was Kubi, first time volunteering. Did fantastic, I thought. For first time, that was very good. And being a first time volunteer is always kind of nerve wracking. So let's give Kubi a thumbs up. That was really good. Alexander, thank you. Students, ahelp.com. That's where you find this tool to help you speak. Look at all of you beautiful people in here. There's at least 25, 30 people in the chat right now. Some of you might be coming from General IELTS because the two websites interface with each other. You can join the premium package by clicking that big red button right there. Okay, it's a one-time payment. If you want to join these live classes regularly, I highly recommend joining the premium package. On the academic website, it's the same idea. When you're on the home page, then click that big red. Do people even say home page, or is everything called a landing page now? Right, changing vocabulary. So this is your homepage, big red button there, just above my head. Sarah, thank you so much for moderating the class. That was fantastic. Okay. All right. Romelia, if you're still there, make sure you send me that email about moderation. Thank you so much, students, for taking part, giving your thoughts, sharing your English. You're all beautiful, wonderful people. And you should always remember that, okay? Never let anybody tell you otherwise. You're all amazing. Have a great rest of your day. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. You've got a few days off from live classes. We will have a new video release for you coming a little bit later in the next 24 hours or so. So check back on the on the YouTube for that. Your websites will also have new releases. Subscribe. You'll get notifications when you do that. Hit the bell button. And I look forward to coming back and teaching all of you from the 9th, from Thursday, where we will continue with speaking part 1. Bye, everybody.